Hey crafty friends, welcome back. All right, y'all, everything in this video is going to be about Simon Says Stamp Create. I just got back this morning. I had the best time. If you've never been, I highly recommend. This was my first year to go. I've been wanting to go for years, and the tickets are not announced very soon ahead of time, and they sell out really quickly. So I wanted to share about my experience in case you were interested in going. I want to tell you all the things. If you have not familiar with Simon Says Create, it is an event put on by Simon Says Stamp. They do this event, I believe, about every other year. The last one was in 2024, then this year. And while I was there this time, Heidi was talking about the next one potentially being in 2028. So it is not every year. We're going to go over all the information. It's a 2-day event. If you buy the general ticket, you get to go in on Friday and Saturday from 9 to 5, and you get to do all the fun make and takes, which I'm about to show you, all of the things that I made. There were, I believe, 25 booths that you could do make and take projects on. They have different projects on Friday than they do on Saturday, so that is double the projects. I'm here to tell you now that is almost 50 projects. No way is anyone going to be able to do all of those projects. So for the general ticket, you can sign up for a Friday ticket or a Saturday ticket, or you can do both, since they are different stuff every day. So it's not just make and takes. Simon Says Stamps also has products for all of the companies that are there out on the floor. And this year, y'all, for the first time, we got 20% off the whole weekend. Everything I bought, amazing. I was not expecting that. Heidi says that was Tim Holt's idea. So thank you, Tim. We really appreciate it. And we definitely hope they bring that back next year. But that's what you get for the general ticket. You get to come in and do the make and takes for 2 days. And then obviously you've got access to the shop. The only thing in the shop is brands that are at the event. So I will say that. But they have so much stuff. So I wanted to give you an idea of the make and takes that are available. I bought the student ticket, and I will go over that information here in a little bit. But let's get to it. So here are some of the projects that I made. This one is from Sizzix. I thought this was really cute. This flower embossing folder actually comes in a set that you could purchase. Super cool. This was one of the projects from Pink Fresh Studio. Love that. Perfume bottle. A lot of these products I do feel like were things that had been released in the last couple months. So that was cool to play with. This is the, I am not familiar with this brand, Alex Siberia. I hope I'm saying that correctly. But this was the project that we made. It is a better press plate. Super cute as well. This is one of the Simon Says Stamp CZ design. Love that. I will say Simon Says Stamp had about 5 different booths of Simon Says Stamp, which is this. They also had a booth for their Rainbow Splash collection, as well as what I showed you a second ago, the CZ design. This was Altenew, super fun. I don't know how well it's shown up, but there's a cool little stencil pattern down the middle. I made 15 cards just from the make and takes alone. This one is Pink Fresh, super cute. These inks, they may not show up on camera. It is shining, that's that foil. Are their new twinkle inks. So I enjoyed getting to play with those. This is Lawn Fawn. Y'all, is that not the cutest little thing? Precious. Loved it. Now, they had a different make and take the day before that was this kind of box thing. I didn't make it, but they did give me the kit to take with me. So I thought that was nice. This is Spellbinders, that new kind of critter release from Allison. She was actually there doing the make and takes with us, so that was cool. Their second one was the big monster from that cake kit that came out. But by the time I got there, they were out of the monsters and they only had the critters, and I had already done this one, so I did not do a second one for Spellbinders. This one is Paper Tray ink, which I have not used before. Super cool. Love doing this. It was really fun. Their other one was a floral. Y'all, some of the best part about this event is being able to play with products and brands that maybe you haven't. I will say most of the products that I purchased were from companies that I have not used before. Y'all, this is my top three. Okay, we're getting to my top three. This is Pink and Main. I love Pink and Main. I get their card kits a lot and foil kits. Love this one. How adorable. I have some of these shaker cards that they have the inserts, but this little tiny one was so cute on that. I would have never thought of that. Love this one. Libby was there at Pink and Main, so really cool to do that. I did love that stamp set, so I actually picked that one up. Next up is Newton's Nook. So I'm familiar with Newton's Nook. I do not own any of their products. They might have been one of my favorites. So most of what I bought was from them. I was super excited. I love this one. I don't know why I have not bought their stuff before. A lot of it was cat and dog themes. And if you can't tell from my channel, Tiny Paws Paper Studio, I have 2 Chihuahuas, and so I love animals, and these were super cute. Love this. So I picked up several of the products that I use to make these cards. I got that stamp set, the little dogs. I also had a cat version of this one that I also picked up, and they have some really cool pattern papers, as you can see here, and I picked up some of those. Love these. This might be my next favorite. And then lastly, Brutus Monroe. Again, another company I'm familiar with, but I do not own any of their products, and I loved both of these cards. Y'all, they were adorable. This is featuring a stamp set that they made specifically for the event. I do believe you can order online though. It is super cute. Create. And it has, we saw, recrafted. This was really cute. So I'm glad I got to pick that up. I will say this product you'll definitely be seeing in some upcoming videos. What we have here on the background, this is a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, but it makes 4 panels, and they call these guides. So if you see these gray areas, that is for a purpose. So this is the one I actually used here on this card. Where that create is that blank space. So you take these guides and then you use their washi strips, and you take them and you match them up with those guides. Y'all, is that not awesome? Super fun, easy backgrounds that you could do with that. So I picked up a couple things from them as well. So you'll definitely be seeing that in a video. But y'all, I made lots of make and takes. Now, I mentioned that I signed up for the student ticket, which means I got to do classes, additional classes on Friday and Saturday. I did a 3-hour class on Friday and a 4-hour class on Saturday. So if you do not do the student edition, you would probably have a bit more time to do some make and takes. And, or I probably could have done more. Oh, and I forgot this one. This is the Tim Holtz make and take. He had the same one for both days. I will point out that. And it was really cool. You actually signed up for a time slot for his, so that way everyone could make it. And I have the honor of him teaching my make and take. So that was really cool. But these are some of the projects, lots of cards. So if you've thought about it, been on the fence, I really enjoyed it. And especially if they keep doing that 20%, definitely worth it to go and check out. Okay, as I mentioned, I did do the student edition. So that is those extra classes. So I'm going to come bring in the projects for that. The way the classes work, one class is Simon Says Stamp products. Mine was taught by Heidi and a couple other people from Simon Says Stamp. And then the other class is usually different each time. So this year it was Tim Holtz Ideology, taught by Paula Cheney. I believe 2 years ago was Gina Kay and Jennifer McGuire, I think, or that may have been the time before. So it does change, so that may influence if you want to pay the extra money to do the class. Now, I will say if you do the classes, you do get extra hours for make and takes that the general ticket does not. So I went down on Thursday and I was able to get 2 extra hours from 6 to 8 where the store is open to do make and takes, as well as we get an extra hour in the morning before everyone else. So there is that. So that way you don't lose out as much of your time. All right, I want to show you what came in the student kit for the Simon Says Stamp class first. It is a whole lot of stuff, which is why I've got y'all zoomed out. It was not going to fit in the frame. So let me get that together and I'll be right back. Okay, y'all, I told you a lot of stuff because it's a lot of stuff. My desk is full. So this you get when you go into the class. They gave us this really cool little crossbody bag. It's actually a really big size and came in handy as a part of my airport carry-on today to get some of my projects back. Super cute. Loved that. We also got an apron. This we actually got when we showed up and registered when we signed in on Thursday night. I just hadn't opened mine till now. It has little pockets. Super cute. I am not aware that anyone in the general ticket got anything. If they did, it would have been the apron and the bag, as well as the pin. If they did, this is potentially what they got. So we did get a bag. That is really handy. And this cute little Simon Says Stamp pin. Okay, in our bag, it came with lots of tools and stuff that we have here that was used for class or just extra stuff. So we're going to go through it because there's so much stuff. All right, we got one of the Tim Holtz kind of distress bags. One of the sticky mats. Mine is used because I used it for class. We got one of the little rubber grippy Positively Everything. I have a couple of these and love them. Got a Simon Says Stamp scoreboard. I was actually kind of pumped about this because I have a big 12 by 12 one that's super annoying to dig out all the time, so I love the smaller one. Got a big 12-inch T ruler. Foam squares, because you can never have too many of those, as well as some foam strips, the little strip ones. Some Simon Says Stamp scissors. And just a fun fact, this will make it in your checked luggage at the airport. They did not take it. One of the microfiber towels. If you've caught my other videos, you already know my little dog Betty loves to carry these throughout the house and chew on them. We got some of the reverse tweezers. One of the little pokey, grippy things. Got a sponge dauber. We got, oops, got some of the new Simon glue. Some of the jewel. We got pink ones, green ones. They might not be shown. And blue ones. As well as some other bag of sequins. We got the white pigment ink, VersaFine Clear Black ink, some blending brushes. Yes, some are small, some are big. They all coordinate. They made sure that we had a blending brush for every ink color that we got. So we got 7 of the mini cubes of the Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturate ink. If you don't know, I have this in the full size. I love these. I believe these 6 here that you see were the ones that we got, but they were also in the Simon Says Stamp Jennifer McGuire kit from a couple months ago. So it is those same colors. And we have an ink brush for all of those. Now, in terms of products, like stamp stencils, that kind of stuff, we also got some of their sentiment strips that we used on projects, and then they gave us some extras, so that was nice. The first card that we made was with Heidi. Oops, and that is this card right here. It is actually a Christmas card, super cute. Using this not yet released Christmas sentiment stamp set called Nostalgic Christmas Greetings. So this, I believe, is supposed to be released in May or June. We also got the Artful Palette Christmas stencils. You can see here there's different patterns of circles. So that is kind of behind these circles here, and then they were kind of offset in white. So we got that. I believe this is also going to be in that release as well. Now, the rest of the products were items that Simon Says Stamp already currently sells. This first one is the domed arches. So, oh, I can't really see it, but it makes these kind of backgrounds here in that card. So we used it in this card as well as some of the other ones as well. The next thing used in this card, well, actually I think that's it, because the die cuts they gave us and we just ink blended those up. So that was the next project. And then we used the Butterfly Blossoms 6x8 stamp set and the Butterfly Blossoms coordinating stencil. Okay, this was released in one of their monthly kits, I believe April of 2025, I think. And for that, we made these two cards here, and those backgrounds are those arches that we got. So those were fun. And the last thing was the watercolor bouquet, and we made this card right here. These die cuts they gave to us, but we used the stamp set to ink blend and do things on the background. And this was in their kit from this year in March. So that is something that I will note. Like I said, I have never done the student ticket before, but a lot of the products that we got were things that were already released by Simon Says Stamp. So that may be something to note of. I was a little disappointed by that. I was expecting to get new items that hadn't been released yet, not necessarily exclusive, but I know me personally, I do not have any of these things, so that was fine. But I do know there were several people in the class that did have especially the two larger flower stamp sets. So if you already shop a lot at Simon Says Stamp, it's possible you might have some of the stuff that they are using in the class. So that may just be something to consider if you are wanting to sign up for that. But aside from that, I did enjoy the projects that we made, and it was a fun experience. Okay, the next class that I did was the Tim Holtz Ideology that was taught by Paula Cheney. So let me get that stuff out, because again, it is also a bunch of stuff. I've never used those products before, so it was fun to play with that. So let me get those together. Okay, y'all, lots of stuff here as well. Okay, so this was the project that we made, this tray. So when you go, there were picture instructions, everything you do. You got to take that with you. So that was great, because I do know there were some people who weren't able to stay due to flights or other things. So it's cool that the instructions were included and they could make it later on their own. Okay, so here is my project. I think it turned out really well. So the way this worked was all the things that we used to put this together, for the most part, we got to keep after whatever supplies and stuff was left over. There were a couple of distress paints and alcohol inks that we used. We did not get to keep those things, but I will show you what we did. So for example, this tray is just a wooden tray. I believe this is Tim Holtz Ideology. You got two of them, so we got the smaller one here that we got to keep. So that was nice, so I can do another project. And then these are the story sticks. So we used that right here on that little tag, so we were able to keep the rest of those. Same thing for these numbers here that came in a pack of one of each number up to 9. So we got to keep the extras of those. This was the ephemera pack that we used. So once again, we got to keep the leftovers. This here's ephemera, these little papers and stuff here. So we got to keep that. We have the, what are these called? Window frames. We got to keep the leftovers of those. And this here is a frame. There's so much stuff in here, it's hard to tell. This right here is a frame, and there's one back here. We also got some mini flare, and that we used here in the little dome. It may not, because it's super small, but that is right there. Now, some things we didn't get extra, so she called these something, and I'm really sorry, y'all. Again, this is not something I'm familiar with. I don't remember what these are called, but we had just enough for the project. So some things we just got one of to use for our project. and then some stitched scraps. And that is shown right here. Now the pattern paper, if you can see, it's on all the edges, and then the backing has a pattern paper. That is from the new release. This is the teal color palette that I believe just came out. So they had these strips already cut up for us, but then they gave us the rest of the packet. So that was really nice to be able to get that. And then lastly, we did get some Ideology washi tape. So these were all the things included for that kit that we got to take with us. I'm really impressed. I had this on my carry-on on the plane, and it came back all in one piece, nothing damaged. So I was very excited about that. But these are the things that you got for the classes. So just to give you an idea, if you feel like the extra price is worth the value to be able to do this, it might be just worth considering if what they're offering is something that you're interested in. Like I said, I just wanted to go. This is my first time. This isn't something I normally do, but I did enjoy the class, and now I've got some extra stuff to play with. And then in the Simon class, you most likely, if you buy a lot from Simon Says Stamp, you might get some things that you already have, so you can decide if that matters for you on that experience. But overall, I had a great time. I definitely plan to go back in 2028 if it is offered then. It was a great experience. I may or may not do the student ticket again for the class, depending on which one is offered. But I will definitely go back and check it out. It was great. Lots of people there to meet. Like I said, Tim Holtz was there. I got to do my make and take with him. That was really fun. Lots of other YouTubers that you meet from the different brands were there. I did a make and take with Clarissa Wiley. JC was there at the Altenew. Nikki Hearts Cards was there taking photos and videos. So it was just, I'm probably leaving out some because there were so many, but it was super fun. I really had a great time. So I hope this video was helpful. I know when I was considering it, I was trying to look for information to see, you know, if it's worth the trip, because it's a flight for me. It's about 11 hours away from me. But I really enjoyed it. So please go ahead and subscribe if these are the kind of videos that you like. I upload twice a week card making, craft making, paper crafts videos. So a lot of the products that I purchase at Simon Says Stamp for the Newton Snook and the Brutus Monroe will definitely be making some appearances in videos soon. Until next time.